The giant meeting room was quiet. Commander Kim Tae-ho stood straight, trying not to show his nervousness. He was the only human in a room full of aliens. Some had too many eyes. Others had skin that glowed. A few looked like walking plants. Kim represented Earth in this important meeting. The room itself was amazing. Clear walls showed the stars outside. The space station orbited a blue-green planet that wasn't Earth. Kim still couldn't believe he was here, so far from home. Admiral Rock walked to the center of the room. He belonged to the Arvani species. They looked somewhat like tall, thin humans, but with forearms and compound eyes like insects. His skin was a pale blue color. "The War Council will begin now," Rock said. His voice was deep and clear. "The situation is bad. The Void Collective has destroyed 3 of our defense stations in the past month." Kim looked around the table. 17 different alien species made up the Galactic Alliance. Humans were the newest members. Most aliens still didn't trust humans. Earth's technology was far behind the others. The Arvani spoke in numbers and facts. "There is a 78.3% chance the Void will attack the Proxima system next," one officer said. The Luminari were even stranger. They looked like walking crystals that glowed in different colors. They didn't speak with words at all. Their translator devices turned their color changes into speech. "Our supply lines cannot hold if we lose Proxima," a glowing blue luminary said. The voice from the translator sounded flat and artificial. Admiral Rock pointed to a 3-dimensional map in the center of the table. It showed stars and planets with red marks where the Void had attacked. "We need new ideas," Rock said. "Our old strategies are failing." A tall, plant-like alien spoke next. "We should abandon the outer systems and focus on defending the core worlds." Arguments broke out around the table. Some agreed. Others didn't. Kim watched carefully. Humans had only joined the Alliance 3 months ago. This was his first war. Council meeting. Director Bae Ju-won, the human diplomat, sat beside Kim. She leaned over and whispered, "They're scared. The Void has been winning for years." Kim nodded. The Void Collective was a mysterious enemy. They used living ships that looked like liquid black glass. No one knew what the Void aliens looked like. They never communicated or took prisoners. "Maybe you should share your idea," Bae said quietly. Kim hesitated. His plan was unusual. The Alliance aliens thought in logical patterns. Humans were different. They used instinct and creativity in ways the aliens found strange. Finally, Kim raised his hand. The room slowly grew quiet. "The human wishes to speak," Admiral Rock announced. All eyes turned to Kim. Some aliens looked curious, others seemed doubtful. Humans were known for strange, unpredictable ideas. "I have studied the Void attack patterns," Kim said, standing up. "They always follow the most efficient path. They never do anything unexpected." Kim walked to the map and pointed to several spots. "Look here and here. They always take the shortest route. They always target the most valuable location. They're too perfect, too logical." A tall Arvani officer interrupted. "Of course they are efficient. That is good strategy," Kim continued. "But it makes them predictable. I believe." Suddenly, the main door slid open with a hiss. A young Arvani officer rushed in. His forearms moved in excited gestures. "Admiral, urgent news. The Void ships have broken through our outer defenses at Proxima." The room erupted in noise. Aliens shouted questions. The luminary flashed bright colors of alarm. But then something strange happened. The noise died down as quickly as it had started. Kim noticed the aliens near him had moved away, creating an empty space around him. Even Director Bae looked surprised. Admiral Rock raised all 4 of his arms. "Silence," he commanded. The room became completely quiet. Rock turned to the young officer who had burst in. "You will leave immediately. Report to Security Chief Mav for reassignment." The young officer looked confused. "But Admiral, the report—" "Out! Now!" Rock's voice was sharp. The young officer quickly left. Rock turned to Kim. His compound eyes seemed to study the human's face carefully. "Commander Kim, Please accept my deepest apology for this interruption. Please continue your strategy proposal. Kim was confused. Why was everyone acting so strange? Director Bay's face showed she was just as puzzled. As I was saying, Kim continued, the void is predictable because they always choose the most efficient option. But humans know that sometimes the best path isn't the most obvious one. Kim moved his hands through the map, highlighting several star systems. I propose we set a trap. We make a weakness look real. We place our ships here, here, and here. It will look disorganized, vulnerable. But it's actually a net. The room was completely silent now. Every alien paid close attention. No one interrupted. Kim had never seen them so focused. When the Void Fleet moves in for the easy victory, we close the trap from all sides. Kim finished. They won't expect it because it doesn't follow logical efficiency. When Kim sat down, the room remained quiet for several moments. Then Admiral Rock spoke. An interesting proposal. Very human. We will consider it carefully. As the meeting continued, Kim noticed the other aliens treated him differently. They seemed more careful, more respectful. When he spoke again later, no one dared interrupt. After the council ended, Kim walked with Director Bay back to the human quarters. What happened in there? Kim asked. After that officer interrupted me, everyone acted strange. Bay's eyes sparkled with amusement. I'm not entirely sure, but I think I accidentally created a cultural misunderstanding. What do you mean? When the young officer burst in, Admiral Rock looked at me as if checking if you were upset, Bay explained. I improvised. I implied that interrupting a human while they're speaking is deeply offensive in our culture. Kim laughed. That's all? That's why everyone suddenly treated me differently? These species are very careful about cultural respect, Bay said. They probably thought you were going to get angry or something. They reached the human quarters. Through the window they could see Earth's sun, just a bright dot from this distance. Your trap idea might work, Bay said, becoming serious. They're desperate enough to try anything now. Kim nodded, looking at the distant stars. The war against the Void had been going on for decades. Humans were new to this fight, but maybe, just maybe, a new perspective was exactly what the Alliance needed. Get some rest, Bay said. Tomorrow we'll find out if they accept your plan. As Kim prepared for sleep, he thought about the strange reaction to the interruption. He didn't know it yet. But a legend was already beginning to form among the alien crew. A legend about humans and what happened when you interrupted their stories. A simple misunderstanding that would soon spread throughout the entire Alliance, and, ultimately, it would help humanity more than anyone could have imagined. The next morning, Commander Kim Tae-ho woke to an urgent message. Admiral Rock wanted to see him right away. Kim dressed quickly in his blue Earth Defense Force uniform and hurried through the space station's curved hallways. He noticed something odd. The aliens he passed moved aside, giving him extra space. Some even bowed their heads slightly. This was new. Yesterday, most had barely noticed him. When Kim reached Admiral Rock's office, Director Bay was already there. The tall, blue-skinned Arvani stood by a large window that showed the stars outside. Commander Kim, Admiral Rock said, we have decided to try your plan. Kim was surprised. He hadn't expected them to agree so quickly. Thank you, Admiral. The war has gone badly for too long, Rock said. His 4 hands made careful gestures as he spoke. Perhaps what we need is a human approach. Rock touched a control panel. A 3D map appeared, showing star systems and ship positions. We will position our fleet as you suggested, appearing vulnerable. The trap will be set here, at Proxima Centauri. Kim studied the map. It will work, but everyone must follow the plan exactly. No one can panic and move out of position early. They will obey, Rock said with certainty. I will command the main fleet. You will lead the Earth ships in the East sector. Director Bay will remain here to coordinate communications. After the meeting, Kim and Bay walked to the station's dining hall. Alien crew members continued to act strangely around Kim. They spoke softly when he passed and watched him carefully. Did you notice how they're treating me? Kim asked. Bay smiled. It's getting even more interesting. I overheard 2 Luminari officers talking about you this morning. What did they say? They believe humans enter some kind of sacred mental state. When telling stories or explaining plans, Bay said, trying not to laugh. They think interrupting this story trance is dangerous. Kim stopped walking. That's ridiculous. Why would they think that? I may have exaggerated a little when explaining to Admiral Rock why the interruption yesterday was rude, Bay admitted. I said humans value being heard completely, but somehow this has grown into something much bigger. Kim shook his head. Should we correct them? Bay thought for a moment. Maybe not yet. This might actually help us. They're finally listening to human ideas. In the dining hall, they chose food from the human section. The Alliance provided meals for all 17 species, each with their own special needs. Some aliens ate light, others consumed strange metals or gases. As they ate, a young Luminari officer approached their table. The crystal-like alien glowed, with gentle blue and green colors. The translator device on its chest turned these color changes into words. Commander Kim, I am Officer Dosi, the flat voice from the translator said. I have been assigned to your ship for the coming battle. Welcome to the team, Kim said. He noticed the Luminari kept a careful distance. I wish to learn human ways, Dosi said, to serve better. That's good, Kim replied. We'll need to work together closely. The Luminari's colors flickered with what seemed like nervousness. I have studied your species. I will never interrupt when you are telling a story. Kim almost corrected the misunderstanding but remembered Bay's words. Thank you, Dosi. That's important to humans. After Dosi left, Kim turned to Bay. This is getting out of hand. It's already too late, Bay said. The rumor is spreading throughout the station. By tomorrow, every alien in the Alliance will think interrupting a human story is taboo. And what happens when they find out it's not true? Bay shrugged. We'll deal with that later. Right now, we have a battle to win. The next few days were busy with preparations. Ships moved into position around the Proxima Centauri system. Kim worked closely with his crew and the alien officers assigned to his ship. The EDF Horizon. Officer Dosi proved very helpful. The Luminari understood Alliance technology much better than the humans did. But Kim noticed how careful Dosi and the other aliens were when he spoke. They never interrupted, not even once. On the last night before the battle, Kim couldn't sleep. He walked to the observation deck of his ship. The view of space was amazing. Stars shined everywhere. In the distance, he could see the blue-white glow of Proxima Centauri. Trouble sleeping, Commander? Kim turned. Admiral Rock had entered the observation deck. The Arvani rarely visited human ships. Just thinking about tomorrow, Kim replied. Rock stood beside him, looking at the stars. Many years ago, when I was young, the Void Collective didn't exist. The galaxy was peaceful. Then they came from beyond the outer rim. No one knows why they attack or what they want. On Earth, we have fought many wars, Kim said. Sometimes, understanding your enemy is the key to victory. The Void never communicates, Rock said. They only destroy. Yet they follow patterns, Kim pointed out. They act in logical, predictable ways. Tomorrow we'll use that against them. Rock was quiet for a moment, then he asked, in human culture, is it true that stories hold special power? Kim didn't know how to answer. The misunderstanding had clearly reached the highest levels of command. We value communication, he said carefully, when ideas are shared completely. Rock nodded. In Arvani culture, we value precision and efficiency. We do not have stories as you do. Perhaps that is why we have failed against the Void. We think too much alike. As Admiral Rock left, Kim stayed watching the stars. He thought about the strange situation. A simple miscommunication had given humans unexpected respect in the Alliance. Now they would test a human battle plan against an enemy no one had beaten before. The next morning, the fleet was ready. Kim stood on the bridge of the EDF Horizon. The ship was small compared to the huge Alliance vessels, but it was fast and agile. All ships in position, Officer Dosey reported. The Luminari's colors were steady and focused. The communication screen showed Admiral Rock on his command ship. The Void Fleet has been detected. They approach exactly as predicted. Hold positions. Remember the plan. The minutes passed slowly. On the main screen, Kim watched as dots appeared representing the Void ships. They moved in perfect formation, heading straight for what looked like a weak spot in the Alliance line. "They're taking the bait," Kim said quietly. Just then, an alarm sounded. One of the Arvani officers spoke urgently. "Commander, one of our scout ships has been spotted. The Void ships are changing course." The plan was falling apart. If the Void Fleet changed direction, the trap would fail. "They're breaking formation," Officer Dosey reported, colors flashing quickly. "The trap will not work if they scatter." Everyone on the bridge looked at Kim. He had to make a decision quickly. The original plan wouldn't work now. They needed something new. "All ships hold position," Kim ordered. "I have a new plan." The bridge fell completely silent. No one moved. No one spoke. They waited for Kim to continue, giving him their complete attention. Kim knew why they were so quiet. They believed interrupting him would be dangerous. The misunderstanding about human storytelling had spread throughout the fleet, and right now, that strange belief might just save them all. All eyes on the bridge waited for Commander Kim Tae-ho to speak. No one moved. No one made a sound. The Void ships were changing course, and their original trap was now useless. "Send a message to Admiral Rock," Kim said calmly. "Tell him to hold position. Then open a channel to all Alliance ships." Officer Dosey's colors flickered briefly. "Channel open, Commander." Kim took a deep breath. "This is Commander Kim. The Void ships have spotted our scout. They know something is wrong, but we can use this." He moved to the main display and touched several points. "They expect us to retreat or regroup. Instead, I want groups 2 and 4 to move forward. Make it look like you're trying to protect the scout. The rest stay perfectly still." On the screen, small dots representing Alliance ships began to move. The Void Fleet responded exactly as Kim had predicted, turning to attack what looked like a rescue attempt. "Now Group 6 full speed toward this position," Kim continued, pointing to a spot behind the Void ships. "Groups 1, 3, and 5 remain invisible for 10 more seconds, then full power to your engines." The bridge crew worked quickly. No one questioned the orders. No one interrupted as Kim continued giving directions. His new plan was risky, turning the Void's change of course into an even better trap. On the main screen, they watched as Alliance ships suddenly appeared from all directions. The Void Fleet was now surrounded. "Fire all weapons," Kim ordered. The space around Proxima Centauri lit up with energy blasts. The Void ships tried to escape, but there was nowhere to go. For the first time in the long war, the Alliance had caught the enemy in a complete trap. "The Void flagship is disabled," Officer Dosey reported, colors pulsing with excitement. 3 enemy vessels destroyed. The others are retreating." A cheer went up from the crew. On the screen, Admiral Rock's face appeared. "Commander Kim, your adjustment to the plan worked perfectly. The Alliance thanks you." After the battle, Kim's ship returned to the main station. The crew of the EDF Horizon were treated as heroes. Word spread quickly about how the human commander had calmly created a new plan when the first one failed. 2 days later, Kim sat in a meeting with Director Bay and Admiral Rock. They reviewed the battle reports. "The Void Collective lost 7 ships," Rock said. "They haven't suffered a defeat like this in 20 years. "It was a team effort," Kim replied modestly. "But it was your quick thinking that saved the day," Rock insisted. "When the scout was spotted and the plan was compromised, you created a new strategy immediately." Bay smiled at Kim. "The Admiral is right. Your ability to adapt was the key." "There's something I don't understand," Kim said. "Why did the Void ships break formation when they spotted our scout? That doesn't match their usual behavior." Admiral Rock's compound eyes seemed to shift uncomfortably. "We have been analyzing that. It seems they are learning, adapting. This makes them more dangerous." After the meeting, Kim and Bay walked through. The station's main corridor. Aliens moved aside respectfully as they passed. The story about humans has grown even bigger now, Bay said quietly. After your success in the battle, they're convinced humans have special mental powers. That's not good, Kim replied. Sooner or later they'll find out it's not true. Maybe, Bay said. But for now it's helping us. The Alliance has ignored human ideas for too long. Now they're finally listening. They entered the station's garden area, a large room filled with plants from many worlds. It was designed to give crew members a place that felt like home. For Kim, the small section with earth trees and flowers was a welcome sight. As they sat on a bench, a young human officer approached them. Lieutenant Han Jin-ho had arrived on the station just a few days ago. Commander Kim, Director Bay, Han said, saluting. May I speak with you? Of course, Lieutenant, Kim replied. Han looked around nervously, then lowered his voice. Is it true what they're saying? About humans and storytelling? Kim and Bay exchanged glances. What have you heard? Bay asked. The aliens are treating me strangely, Han explained. Yesterday I was explaining a repair procedure to an Arvani engineer. When another worker tried to ask a question, the engineer nearly pushed him away. Later he apologized for the sacred interruption. What's going on? Kim sighed. It's a misunderstanding that's gotten out of control. Bay quickly explained how her small comment about interruptions had grown into a station-wide belief about human storytelling powers. Han's eyes widened. That's bizarre. Should we correct them? Kim was about to agree when Bay raised her hand. Before you answer, consider this. The Alliance has fought the void for decades without success. Now, they're finally listening to human ideas. Our different way of thinking might be exactly what they need to win this war. So we let them believe a lie? Han asked. Not a lie exactly, Bay said. More like a helpful misunderstanding. Humans do value being heard. We do tell stories differently than the logical Arvani or the color-speaking Luminari. Kim thought about the battle, how everyone had listened carefully to his new plan without questioning or interrupting. That complete attention had made a difference. For now we let it stand, Kim decided. But we don't encourage it or make it worse. Han nodded, though he still looked uncomfortable. Understood, sir. After Han left, Kim turned to Bay. This can't last forever. What happens when they find out? By then, hopefully they'll respect humans for our actual abilities, not this strange myth, Bay replied. Later that evening, Kim met with Officer Dosi in the ship's training room. The Luminari had asked to learn more about human combat techniques. Your fighting style is different, Dosi said, colors shifting to show interest. Less predictable than Arvani methods. Kim demonstrated a basic defensive move. Humans had to develop many fighting styles because we fought each other for thousands of years before we became united. Dosi's colors darkened. The Void is the first enemy the Alliance ever faced. We were not prepared. That's why different perspectives are valuable, Kim said. The Void expects you to think like Arvani or Luminari. They don't understand how humans think. Is it true, Dosi asked hesitantly, that humans can see possible futures when they tell stories? Kim almost laughed but caught himself. The myth had grown even more fantastic. We imagine possibilities, he said carefully. It's not magic, just a different way of thinking. Dosi seemed satisfied with this answer. As they continued training, Kim wondered how far this misunderstanding would spread, and what would happen when the truth finally came out. What he didn't know was that the legend of human storytelling was already traveling beyond the station, spreading to Alliance worlds across the galaxy. 1 month after the victory at Proxima Centauri, Commander Kim Tae-ho stood in the main war room of the Alliance headquarters. The space was larger than the meeting room on the station. Leaders from all 17 species had gathered to discuss the next phase of the war. The mood was different now. Hope had replaced fear. The Void Collective had pulled back their forces after their defeat. For the first time in years, the Alliance was planning an attack instead of a defense. Supreme Commander Vex of the Luminari High Council led the meeting. The crystal-like alien glowed with bright, confident colors. "The victory at Proxima Centauri has changed everything," Vex's translator said. "We can now push the Void back to their own territory." Maps and battle plans appeared on the large display in the center of the room. Different alien commanders offered ideas and strategies. Kim listened carefully, noticing how many of the plans now included elements of human thinking. When it was Kim's turn to speak, the room fell completely silent. The legend of human storytelling had spread far beyond the space station. Now, leaders from across the galaxy believed interrupting a human was dangerous. "Thank you, Supreme Commander," Kim began. "I believe our next target should be the Void base in the Rigel system." Kim walked to the display and showed his plan. He explained how they could use the Void's predictable patterns against them again. No one interrupted. No one even whispered. While he spoke, Director Bay watched from her seat with a small smile. The misunderstanding had become their greatest advantage. After the meeting, Admiral Rock approached Kim. "Your plan for Rigel is excellent. The Alliance Council has approved it." "Thank you, Admiral," Kim replied. "There is more," Rock said. "You are being promoted to Fleet Commander. You will lead the attack on Rigel." Kim was surprised. "Fleet Commander? But I've only been with the Alliance for a few months." "Your success has earned this," Rock said. "And—" he hesitated. "The troops respond well to human leadership. They listen carefully to your commands." Kim knew why, but he simply nodded. "I'm honored." 3 days later, Kim stood on the bridge of his new command ship, the Alliance vessel Starlight. It was much larger than his old ship, with a crew of both humans and aliens. Officer Dosey had requested to join him, and now served as his second in command. "All ships report ready, Commander," Dosey said, colors steady and focused. The Alliance fleet was massive, over 50 ships preparing to attack the Void base at Rigel. Kim's plan was bold, but dangerous. They would split their forces, something the Alliance rarely did. "Signal all ships," Kim ordered. "Operation begins in 5 minutes." As the fleet moved forward, Kim felt the weight of his new responsibility. Thousands of lives depended on his decisions. The plan had to work. The journey to Rigel took 3 days at light speed. When they arrived, the Void base appeared on their scanners, a massive black structure orbiting the bright blue star. "Void ships detected," Officer Dosey reported. 15 vessels moving to intercept." "Perfect," Kim said. "Exactly where we expected them. Begin Phase 1. The Alliance fleet split into 3 groups just as planned. The Void ships responded by splitting their forces as well, trying to counter each group. "They're following the pattern," Lieutenant Han said from his position at the tactical display. "Just like you predicted, sir." The first shots were fired as the ships came into range. Energy beams lit up the darkness of space. The Alliance ships in Group 1 took heavy fire but held their positions. "Group 2, move into position," Kim ordered calmly. On the main screen, they watched as Alliance ships circled around, getting behind the Void forces. The trap was working. Suddenly, alarms sounded across the bridge. "New contacts," Han shouted. "More Void ships approaching from behind the star." Kim's heart sank. This wasn't part of the plan. The Void had hidden ships behind Rigel's bright light where sensors couldn't detect them. "How many?" Kim asked quickly. "At least 20 vessels," Han replied. "They'll reach us in 2 minutes." The bridge crew looked worried. Some started talking, all at once. The plan was falling apart, and panic was setting in. "Silence!" Dosey's translator boomed, the luminary's colors flashing bright red. "The commander is thinking." The bridge immediately went quiet. Everyone turned to Kim, waiting. The belief about human storytelling was working in his favor again. No one would interrupt while he formed a new plan. Kim studied the tactical display, mind racing. The hidden Void ships would attack their rear, while the forces in front still had them engaged. They were caught in a trap of their own. "All ships, new formation," Kim said at last. "Groups 1 and 3, full reverse. Group 2, continue the attack." Officer Dosey relayed the orders. The Alliance ships began to move, changing their positions quickly. "Sir, if we reverse, we'll run directly into the new Void ships," Han pointed out. "Exactly," Kim said. "They expect us to scatter or try to escape to the sides. Instead, we'll charge straight at them. They won't be ready for a direct attack." It was a desperate move, but Kim knew the Void always expected their enemies to retreat when surprised. A counterattack would confuse them. The bridge crew worked quickly, no one questioning the unusual orders. On the screen, they watched as Alliance ships turned and accelerated toward the approaching Void vessels. The Void ships hesitated, their perfect formation faltering for a moment. That brief pause was all Kim needed. "All ships, concentrate fire. On the lead Void vessel," he ordered. Dozens of energy beams struck the first Void ship. Its black surface cracked and then exploded in a burst of dark energy. The explosion damaged 2 nearby Void ships. "Push through their line," Kim commanded. "Don't stop firing." The battle became chaos as ships passed close to each other, firing at point-blank range. But Kim's surprise tactic had worked. The Void ships couldn't coordinate their attack. "Their formation is broken," Dosey reported, colors pulsing with excitement. "They're trying to regroup." "Don't give them time," Kim said. "All ships target their command vessel." The Alliance fleet focused their attack on the largest Void ship. Under the combined firepower, even its advanced shields couldn't hold. The massive black ship broke apart. Without their command ship, the remaining Void vessels began to retreat. Some tried to reach the base, but Group 2 had already disabled its main defenses. "We've done it," Han said in disbelief. "The base is falling." Cheers erupted across the bridge. Kim allowed himself a small smile. The victory was even greater than at Proxima Centauri. Hours later, after the Rigel base had been captured, Kim received a message from Alliance headquarters. Supreme Commander Vex and the High Council sent their congratulations. "Your ability to adapt when surprised was remarkable," the message said. "The Alliance has much to learn from human tactical thinking." Kim showed the message to Director Bay, who had joined the fleet for this important mission. "They're starting to value humans for the right reasons," Bay said. "Not just because of some strange myth about storytelling." "Maybe," Kim replied. "But that myth still helped today. When those hidden ships appeared, everyone went quiet and waited for me to think." Bay nodded. "The question is, what happens when they discover the truth?" Kim looked out at the stars beyond the viewport. "I think that day is coming soon, and we need to be ready for it." What they didn't know was that the final test of the human storytelling legend would come sooner than either of them expected. 6 months had passed since the victory at Rigel. The war had changed completely. The Alliance now controlled most of the galaxy, pushing the Void Collective back to the far edges of known space. Fleet Commander Kim Tae-ho stood by the large window in his office on the Alliance headquarters station. Earth was visible in the distance, a small blue dot among the stars. Kim still found it amazing that he could see his home planet from here. A soft chime announced a visitor. The door slid open, and Director Bae Ju-won entered. "Congratulations on your new promotion," Bae said with a smile. "Admiral Kim sounds impressive." Kim shook his head. "I still can't believe it. 2 years ago, I was just a commander on an Earthship. Now I'm an admiral in the Alliance fleet." "You earned it," Bae replied. "The victories at Proxima Centauri and Rigel changed the war, and the new tactics you developed for the Sirius campaign finished the job." Kim nodded. The Alliance had won 3 major battles using his strategies. The Void Collective was now offering to discuss peace terms for the first time ever. "The peace conference begins tomorrow," Bae said, her tone becoming serious. "Representatives from all 17 Alliance species will attend. It's the most important meeting in decades. And the Void will finally show themselves," Kim added. No one had ever seen what the Void aliens looked like. They had always hidden behind their black ships and automated messages. "There's something else," Bae said, looking slightly uncomfortable. "The story about humans and storytelling has evolved." Kim sighed. "How bad is it now?" "They believe humans can see the future when telling stories," Bae explained. "That our brains enter a special state where we can predict events, Some even think we can alter reality with our words. That's ridiculous, Kim said. We need to end this misunderstanding before the peace conference. Bay hesitated. Maybe not yet. The Alliance Council specifically requested that you lead the peace talks. They believe the Void will respect human negotiation abilities, based on a myth, Kim pointed out. Based on results, Bay corrected. Myth or not, your strategies won the war. The next morning, the Great Council chamber was filled with representatives from every Alliance species. Kim took his place at the IGU, head of the long table with Director Bay beside him. Admiral Rock and Supreme Commander Vex sat nearby. The Void delegation is arriving, an aide announced. The room fell silent as the doors opened. 5 tall figures entered, covered in flowing black material that moved like liquid. They wore smooth, featureless masks that reflected light like dark mirrors. We speak for the Void Collective, one of them said, voice deep and slightly mechanical. We have come to discuss terms of peace. Kim stood. Welcome to Alliance Headquarters. I am Admiral Kim Tae-ho of Earth. I will lead these negotiations. The Void representatives took their seats opposite the Alliance delegation. Their movements were stiff and precise, almost machine-like. Before we begin, the Void speaker said, we wish to understand something. Our intelligence reports indicate that humans possess special mental abilities when communicating. Is this accurate? Kim froze. He hadn't expected this question. The Void had somehow learned about the storytelling myth. He glanced at Bay, unsure how to respond. Before Kim could answer, a young Arvani officer burst into the room, rushing toward Admiral Rock. Everyone turned to look. Urgent message from the outer defense grid, the officer said breathlessly. The room erupted in gasps and murmurs, not because of the message, but because of the interruption. Every Alliance member looked horrified, eyes darting between the officer and Kim. Admiral Rock stood quickly, forearms raised in alarm. Silence, he commanded. Then he turned to Kim, bowing deeply. Admiral Kim, I offer my deepest apologies for this interruption during such an important moment. The officer will be disciplined immediately. The young Arvani looked confused, then terrified as he realized what he had done. 2 guards moved to remove him from the room. Kim saw an opportunity. The Void were watching carefully, clearly interested in how humans would react to being interrupted. This moment could shape the peace negotiations. Wait, Kim said, voice calm but firm. The guard stopped. Let him deliver his message. The room was completely still. No one moved. No one spoke. The Void representatives leaned forward slightly, watching. The young officer, now trembling, delivered his message. Our sensors have detected unusual activity near the Void border. Energy readings we've never seen before. Kim nodded. Thank you. Return to your post and continue monitoring the situation. As the officer left, Kim turned back to the Void delegation. They were still watching him intently. You managed your anger well, the Void speaker said. Our reports suggested humans react differently when interrupted during important communications. Kim took a deep breath. It was time to end the misunderstanding. There has been a cultural confusion, he explained. Humans value being heard completely, but we don't possess special powers when speaking. The Void representatives looked at each other. Then slowly, the speaker reached up and removed his mask. Everyone gasped. The face beneath was surprisingly human-like, with pale skin and large dark eyes. The other Void representatives also removed their masks. We have been watching humans for a long time, the speaker said, his real voice softer than the mechanical one. Your species interests us because you think differently than the others. You are unpredictable, creative. You've been studying us? Kim asked, surprised. Yes. We intercepted communications about human storytelling abilities. We wanted to see if it was true. That is partly why we agreed to these peace talks. Bay looked embarrassed. I'm afraid that was a misunderstanding that got out of control. The Void speaker made a sound that might have been a laugh. Perhaps, but misunderstanding or not, it led to interesting results. Human strategies defeated our best ships. Human thinking outmaneuvered our most advanced computers. Admiral Rock stood. The myth about human storytelling may not be true, but humans have proven their value to the Alliance many times. Their different way of thinking changed the course of this war. Supreme Commander Vex's colors pulsed in agreement. The legend helped us listen to human ideas when we might have ignored them. Perhaps that was its true purpose. The Void Speaker nodded. We come from beyond the galaxy. We encountered many species in our travels, but none like humans. We attacked because we thought this galaxy would be easy to conquer. We were wrong. And now? Kim asked. Now we wish for peace, the speaker replied. And perhaps cultural exchange. We are particularly interested in human stories. Later, after the first day of successful negotiations, Kim and Bay walked together in the station's garden. So the myth helped end the war after all, Bay said, even though it wasn't true. The myth made them listen, Kim replied. But it was human. Ideas that won the war. And now the Void want to learn about human storytelling, Bay said with a laugh. The irony is perfect. As they walked, they passed a group of young officers from various species. One was telling the others a story. Never interrupt a human when they're speaking. A junior officer once burst into a war council and interrupted Admiral Kim. They say he was reassigned to the farthest outpost in the galaxy. Kim and Bay looked at each other and smiled. The legend would continue, it seemed. And perhaps that wasn't such a bad thing. After all, in a galaxy full of different species and cultures, being heard completely was a rare and valuable thing. The end.